Victoria's interference in her grandchildren's romantic lives played a significant role in shaping and ultimately destabilizing modern Europe. If you were a royal in the late 19th century, there was a strong likelihood that you were related to Queen Victoria. If Victoria was your grandmother, you could expect a glamorous royal wedding to a prince or princess of her choosing. Victoria's descendants effectively gained automatic entry into what amounted to the world's most exclusive dating agency, states Deborah Cadbury, author of Queen Victoria's Matchmaking, The Royal Marriages That Shaped Europe. According to Cadbury, the outcomes of her grandchildren's love lives were orchestrated by the Queen herself. However, these outcomes were not always joyful. In fact, by marrying off her grandchildren, Victoria inadvertently contributed to the onset of a world war. Here's how her matchmaking endeavors both created and destroyed modern Europe. It was not uncommon for a monarch to be involved in family marriages. The Royal Marriage Act of 1772 allowed the British monarch to veto any match. Yet, Victoria did more than simply say no. She believed she could influence Europe by controlling her family members' marriages. Each marriage was a form of soft power, Cadbury explains. Victoria aimed to promote stable constitutional monarchies like Britain's across Europe. Fortunately for her ambitions, Victoria had plenty of family members to work with. She had 9 children and 42 grandchildren, and eventually, 7 of them ascended to thrones in Russia, Greece, Romania, Britain, Germany, Spain, and Norway, all of whom would take sides during World War I with catastrophic results. Some of Victoria's grandchildren complied with her wishes without question. Her grandson Albert Victor was second in line for the throne and, at Victoria's insistence, proposed to Princess Mary of Teck. Victoria favored the German princess for her level-headedness and pressured Albert into marrying her despite rumors about his sexuality. He dutifully proposed but tragically died suddenly from influenza in 1892. Victoria then urged Albert's brother, George, now second in line, to propose to Princess Mary instead. She accepted and became queen consort as George V, earning widespread affection from the public. However, not all of Victoria's grandchildren heeded her warnings. Her favorite granddaughter, Alix of Hesse, fell in love with Nicholas Romanov, the heir to the Russian throne. Victoria was appalled. She viewed the Russians as barbaric and forbade the match. Granny was right, of course, Cadbury notes, but Alix was in love. Although Alix declined Nicholas's proposals twice, she eventually gained Victoria's reluctant approval and married him just after he became Tsar of Russia. Their love was strong but doomed. During Nicholas's reign, Russia descended into revolution and war. His British cousin George V chose not to assist the Romanovs due to political concerns. In 1918, Nicholas II, Cherina Alexandra, and their 5 children were executed by Bolshevik troops. Once these first cousins took their thrones, they often found themselves at odds with one another. Victoria's most contentious grandchild was Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany, a ruler whose temperament diverged sharply from what Victoria had hoped for when she arranged his parents' marriage. Unlike many of her other grandchildren, Wilhelm could not be easily influenced by his grandmother. As tensions escalated towards war, Wilhelm's mother Vicky expressed deep concern in letters to her British mother. "I think with fright and horror of the future," she confided in 1897. "It makes one mad to think of all the misery that may yet come." This misery spread across Europe as nationalism grew among Victoria's grandchildren and their countries became increasingly fragmented. As the balance of power began to unravel, they took sides, sometimes against their own relatives. George V opposed Kaiser Wilhelm's policies, as did Tsar Nicholas before his assassination, causing the diplomatic ties that Victoria had hoped to strengthen through her matchmaking efforts to deteriorate. As the forces leading to World War I bore down on Victoria's grandchildren, Cadbury observes that their familial bonds became essentially powerless. The result was tragic. Cousin could betray cousin, husband was set against wife, even sister against sister, Cadbury notes. The consequences were staggering. World War I resulted in more deaths than any previous conflict and left Europe in ruins. By that time, Queen Victoria had been deceased for 17 years, but the marriages she had so forcefully advocated continued to have profound repercussions throughout Europe. As Victoria's granddaughter Victoria Melita of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha wrote to her cousin Marie of Romania in 1917, there was little left to look forward to, neither pride nor hope nor money nor future. For many of Victoria's grandchildren, the war marked not only the end of their happiness but also their reigns. By its conclusion, the monarchies of Turkey, Austria-Hungary, Germany, and Russia had all fallen. Today, Britain's monarch holds less sway over royal marriages. While royal weddings still require approval from the monarch, expansive royal dynasties are no longer created through matchmaking. However, as Cadbury points out, many still view royal matchmaking as the ultimate fairytale. The notion of a prince and princess finding true love may be a dream for many. However, for numerous descendants of Victoria, what transpired after their royal weddings resembled more of a nightmare.